Good morning. I am so fucking tired today. I've tried to record this zombie flesh eaters review about 3 times. Uh, just exhausted, but I want to put the recommendation up. So here we go. Anyway, this video is about zombie flesh eaters, which is also known as Zombie 2. A Lucio Fulci film that came out in 1979. They called it Zombie 2 when they marketed it because they wanted to pass it off as a sequel to George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, which it is not. It's its own film. So, what about this film? What's good about it? So, the zombies in this look great. They're really nasty, rotted, shambling cadavers with all worms over their facial orifices. They look like they're falling apart. They look like they stink, which is a good test of zombie makeup. You can imagine this gross, reeking odor of death coming off them. They look horrible when they're rising up out of the graveyard. The practical effects are great. So you watch zombie films to see sort of disgusting dead bodies. It's definitely a good one to watch. For me, it's not like in the top tier of zombie films. That would be the George Romero films. That would be Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. If you like comedies, it'd be Shaun of the Dead. It'd be Peter Jackson's Brain Dead, also known as Dead Alive. Those would be the top tier ones for me. But this one's kind of this faulty film, Zombie Flesh Eaters, is more like in the top of the next tier of films down, but very, very good. To talk about Fulci, he was born in 1927 and he studied medicine in college. Then he was an art critic. Then he made about 18 comedies, Italian comedies. Then he went into thrillers and he made a couple of films like Lizard in a Woman's Skin and The Psychic, which are quite acclaimed. And Lizard in a Woman's Skin actually had practical effects on vivisected dogs that were so realistic they thought it was real animal cruelty, and they pulled him into court on charges of animal cruelty. That's how good the effects were. So Fulci films are known for their good effects. You got throats being ripped out, eye gouging, gunshots to the head, sort of blood going everywhere. If you like gore, there's a lot of gore. Well, there's not a lot of gore. There's a lot of gore for a 1970s film, but the gore that there is looks really good. Um, so the other good thing about this film is the soundtrack, the score. It's cheesy and melodramatic. It gives quite a lot of weight to what was a relatively cheap film. So yeah, I mean the atmosphere is what sells this one. There's some great scenes where there's a zombie fighting a shark underwater, which is very famous, and there's a good scene with dead bodies rising out of the ground in a graveyard. You can see the hands coming up, and the way it's directed is great. There's a lot of weight to it for a zombie film. It looks quite artistic. The story, I'll go into the story a little bit without giving spoilers. There's not much to spoil really, but the story, such as it is, involves the fact that a boat drifts into New York Harbor at the beginning of the film. There's a zombie on that, and the zombie kills someone. The police find out that the boat belongs to the father of a woman called Anne Bowles, who's her father is doing some shady research on a Caribbean island, and Anne Bowles goes with a journalist. This journalist finds out that Bowles' father is suffering a disease on the island where he's doing the research. So the pair of them grab some guides and they head off to investigate. So meanwhile, on this island, there's a zombie infection, and it's spreading at the research institute. They're studying the process of zombification, I believe, and so all these dead bodies are coming back, and they end up blasting all the dead bodies in the head, so they don't come back. And basically, there's chaos on this island, and this woman Anne and the journalist turn up to investigate, and there's this sort of shit storm of a zombie outbreak happening there, and that's it really. That's the story, and it's an excuse for a lot of zombies wandering around getting shot. If that's what you want, if you want a fairly chaotic 1970s zombie film, I recommend this. I would give this about an 8 out of 10 as a zombie film. As an actual film, I don't know what I would give it. You can't really rate these nasty B movies the same way you would rate Schindler's List or something. Um, it's a film about reanimated corpses and with blood going everywhere. So but within that genre, it's an 8 out of 10. There's a sequel to this called Zombie 3, confusingly enough. That's all right. That's got some good moments. It says, I think it says on the box that Fulci directed it, but he only did a part of it. He had to tap out partway through, and someone else finished it, I think. But that's worth watching as well. I think that if you like zombie films, Zombie Flesh Eaters is essential viewing. Zombie 3 is an interesting curiosity. As an aside to this film, there's a Swedish film from 2018 called Video Man, which features zombie flesh eaters heavily as a plot device, as a plot point. It's about a guy that's running a vintage VHS shop. So he picks up all the tapes that he can and sells them to collectors, and he's got this basement full of tapes. And in the film, he manages to get hold of a copy of this film, Zombie Flesh Eaters, on videotape. It's in mint condition. He gets it for sort of a couple of dollars, and then he finds a buyer online who wants it, pay much more for it. And that person turns out to be quite a threatening individual who definitely wants the tape. But our main character manages to lose the Zombie Flesh Eater tape, and he has to get it back in time to sell it to the lunatic that he's met online. The Video Man's all right. It's worth watching. It's not fantastic, but that features this film, Zombie Flesh Eaters, as a plot device. So that sort of shows how loved the film is when it's turning up in other films. I just remember I had this. Sorry if I already mentioned this, I'm tired, but I had this film on VHS in the 1990s. I had a big collection of stuff like this, Italian horror films, video nasties, all that sort of stuff. I think this film actually was one of the video nasties that was listed in England in the 80s, the Video Nasties Act, if I remember correctly. So, but anyway, yeah, it's a good violent 70s gory zombie film. Check that out, especially if you like Lucio Fulci. It's one of his better, more famous films. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.